may not mean nothing to y'all.
As you walk down that tunnel, man, you look to your left, you look to your right, and you understand why we do what we do.
I want this forever mine, ever mine, ever mine.
The world will know your name.
Last name ever, first name greatest.
79 years, 30 bowl games, 15 first-round draft picks.
Let's go!
11 conference championships, 10 All-Americans.
Make it 9! Marcus Jones!
4 college football Hall of Famers, and 1 Heisman Trophy winner. Houston Cougar football has enjoyed great success featuring exciting offenses, and it all started thanks to one coach back in the 1960s, a coach by the name of Bill Yeoman.
I want this forever mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine.
I present our fix 333 our hook.
From the moment he stepped on campus in 1962, Yeoman changed the game, building a culture that was tough, innovative, and above all, explosive.
He is really the father of the University of Houston football program. He is the man. It all starts with Bill Yeoman.
Before stepping onto the sidelines, Yeoman took his talents to the field as a collegiate center. First, as a member of the Texas A&M Aggies in 1945. Then, for the Army Black Knights from 1946 through 1948, under the direction of legendary coach Earl Blake, where they won a national championship in Yeoman's first year at Army.
He came out of West Point, where he was the first 2-time captain in the history at Army.
In his final Army season, he was named team captain and finished as a second-team All-American. When Bill Yeoman became Coach Yeoman at the University of Houston, success was immediate. In their first year with Bill Yeoman on the sidelines, the Cougars finished with a 7-4 record and a Tangerine Bowl appearance. This was just a sign of things to come. Moving on to 1964, Yeoman made history. He recruited Warren McVay, making the University of Houston the first major college program in Texas to award a scholarship to an African-American player. At the time, when segregation still gripped the South, Yeoman broke the norm and opened the door, giving black players the opportunity to walk through and compete in all sports throughout the South and Southwest. His impact wasn't just about breaking barriers, it was about revolutionizing football itself.
But he came down to Houston from Michigan State, and he brought with him this newfangled offense and an approach called the veer offense. And he had great success.
Yeoman created the Houston veer offense, a triple option scheme, giving the quarterback the option to hand off, pitch, or run it himself. The Houston veer proved to be fast and deceptive, leaving teams puzzled trying to stop it. The Cougars were dominating their competition with scores like their 100-6 win over Tulsa and a 77-3 victory over Idaho. It was clear that the veer offense was taking the University of Houston's football fortunes into another stratosphere as they led the nation in total offense for 3 straight years. But there was more to come. By the mid-1970s, the University of Houston Cougars football program had become a dominant entity.
The 1976 Southwest Conference season saw the end to 2 eras and the beginning of another. Darrell Royal and Frank Broyles retired at the end of the season, while the University of Houston came roaring into the conference with its exciting veer offense.
Joining the conference in 1976, Houston shocked the world, winning the conference title and earning a date against the Maryland Terrapins in the Cotton Bowl, capping off their inaugural season with an impressive 30-21 win over the Terrapins. In 1980, the Cougars would go on to win back-to-back conference titles for the first time in program history, and ending with a 17-14 victory over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. As time rolled on, so did the Cougars' success. In 1984, Coach Yeoman led the Cougars to their 4th Southwest Conference title. Quite an accomplishment for the red and white, winning 4 conference championships and 2 Cotton Bowls in less than a decade. The message was clear. Under Coach Bill Yeoman, the University of Houston football program had arrived, and they were built to win. 1986 marked the end of Yeoman's coaching tenure with the University of Houston, finishing with a record of 160 wins and 108 losses, totaling the most wins by a head coach in the football program's history. He is commemorated with a statue outside TDECU Stadium and is one of the most decorated figures within Houston athletics. Leading the charge post-Yeoman was his successor, Jack Pardee, a college football Hall of Fame linebacker. Coach Pardee led the Cougars for 3 seasons, 1986 through 1989. His starting quarterback was none other than the prolific Heisman-winning Andre Ware, thus marking the most legendary coach-quarterback duo for the Cougars. In Ware's 3rd season at UH, he thrived in the run-and-shoot offense. Andre Ware was the driving force in one of the country's most potent offenses, leading the way for future black college quarterbacks. Ware remains the only player to win the Heisman Trophy while on a team that was under probation. Additionally, Ware also won the Davy O'Brien Award. During Ware's Heisman campaign, he set 26 NCAA records. At the time, he held the record for most passing yards in a season with 4,699, the record for passing yards per game, 427 yards, and the record for most touchdown passes per game with 4.2, all while sitting out the second half of 7 of the 11 games he played. After leaving a legendary legacy at the University of Houston, Ware would go on to enter the 1990 NFL Draft, where he got drafted by the Detroit Lions with the 7th overall pick. Pardee's last game coaching the Red and White was a historical one, posting the most total offense yards in a single game, with 1,021 yards against SMU in a 95-21 blowout victory. Jack Pardee's departure following the '89 season saw him return to the National Football League as the head coach of the Houston Oilers. What followed for the fortunes of the University of Houston's football program were seasons of mediocrity under head coaches John Jenkins, Kim Helton, Dana Dimmel, and Art Briles. The highlights for the Cougars during this period came courtesy of Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback David Klingler and his record-setting operation of the run-and-shoot offense. His records include 11 touchdown passes in a victory over Eastern Washington and passing for 716 yards in a win over TCU. Klingler ended his career as the Southwest Conference career record holder in passing completions, attempts, yards, and touchdowns. Klingler was named the winner of the Sammy Baugh Award in 1990, was inducted into the University of Houston Athletics Hall of Honor in 2008. From a team standpoint, the Cougars enjoyed a resurgence as Kevin Sumlin was named head coach, resulting in a return to success for the football program. While Coach Sumlin guided things on the sidelines, on the field, quarterback Case Keenum took the reins, resulting in wins and records.
I'm proud to call Case a fellow Cougar. And during his time, he set records. He set passing yardage records that will be hard to beat at Division I level with over 19,000 passing yards.
Keenum looking for Edwards, got a touchdown! It's a record for Case Keenum! That's the Case Keenum we know, right there.
Keenum, like his predecessor, David Klingler, set numerous records while wearing the red and white. Those records include most passing yards, total yards, touchdowns, and pass completions. He's a 2-time Sammy Baugh Award winner in 2009 and again in 2011. A 2-time Conference USA MVP in 09 and 11, and a first-team All-American in 2009. He was inducted into the University of Houston Athletics Hall of Honor in 2023. Case Keenum saved one of his best performances for his final game with the Cougars. It came in the Ticket City Bowl as the Cougars went up against Penn State. Houston would go on to defeat the Nittany Lions by the score of 30-14. Keenum threw 3 touchdown passes, threw for 532 yards, leading the way. Keenum's favorite target was wide receiver Patrick Edwards.
With the deep ball far side, caught again by Patrick Edwards. Wow, and what a throw.
Who caught 10 passes for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. Houston's defense chipped in with 3 interceptions. With their bowl victory, the Houston Cougars ended the season with a 13-1 record. Both Sumlin and Keenum would exit the program following the bowl game. Kevin Sumlin went on to Texas A&M, where he coached and worked with Heisman-winning quarterback Johnny Manziel. Keenum's pro career started as an undrafted free agent signing with the Houston Texans. Case Keenum's first start for the Texans came against the Kansas City Chiefs on October 13th, 2013. The game was televised by CBS, and calling the play-by-play was University of Houston graduate and proud Cougar, Jim Nantz.
Case didn't have the easiest route initially in his pro career to getting to be a starting quarterback, but he had his first start years ago for the Texans at Kansas City, and I was just thrilled to be able to be there for the first time that he was under center as a starter. Stayed in touch ever since. He's made a great career for himself in the NFL. His longevity speaks for itself. He's again reps us so well with his leadership, his knowledge of an offense, his support of his teammates, and that's why his career's been extended as long as it has. He's reliable. He's smart. He's a wonderful teammate. It's great to have him in the quarterback room and have his wisdom and perspective. So short of it is, Case Keenum is one of the great Cougars of all time.
After having a few subpar seasons after the departure of Case Keenum, the Houston Cougars were able to find success again in 2015. The Cougars were led by first-year head coach Tom Herman, finishing the season with a 13-1 record, beating the 9th-ranked Florida State Seminoles 38-24 in the Peach Bowl. Star quarterback Greg Ward threw for 238 yards and accounted for 3 touchdowns. The Cougars' defense helped cement the win by forcing 5 turnovers. UH ended the season ranked 8th in the country, sending warnings to the rest of the NCAA that they were on the rise. Tom Herman and the Cougars were establishing a new era of achievement. To kick off the 2016 season, the Cougars, who were ranked 16th coming in, hosted Baker Mayfield and the 3rd-ranked Oklahoma Sooners at NRG Stadium.
Man, that was the closest to for a college athlete to feel like a professional. You're in an NFL stadium, packed out. Like, it was sold out. Not a seat available. I think it was standing room only. And you're playing against NFL prospect and a quarterback. And a lot of NFL prospects, because they, produce a lot of, NFL players. And, just to be able to compare the dog. It was like, all right, y'all think y'all dogs. Let's see if y'all are willing to go there with us.
The game started the beginning of one of the most anticipated seasons in Cougar football history. With Coach Herman on the sidelines.
As you walk down that tunnel, man, you look to your left, you look to your right, and you understand why we do what we do. Why we do what we do, and why we're going to win this game. Understood? Yes, sir.
Greg Ward, a preseason Heisman candidate.
And he is officially now on the Heisman radar.
An incoming 5-star defensive tackle, Ed Oliver.
Jackson being pressured. He'll go down the 25-yard line. Guess who? The freshman out of Westfield, Ed Oliver, there for another sack.
Expectations were high for the red and white, yet they felt they had something to prove. They soundly beat the Sooners 33-23 as Greg Ward and Ed Oliver made their presence felt. The win was Houston's 2nd straight victory over a top 10 team. It paved the way for another successful season for the Cougars as they finished the season 9-4, including a marquee victory against Heisman winner Lamar Jackson and the 5th-ranked Louisville Cardinals. However, the season ended up being a bittersweet one for the Cougars. On November 26, 2016, Tom Herman agreed to become the next head coach at the University of Texas.
Before I begin, I would be remiss if I didn't thank and express my truly heartfelt affection for the University of Houston and the people that make it great.
Herman's departure marked the end of a 2-year run of success for the Cougars. In the short amount of time Herman was present, he showed that the University of Houston football program did indeed belong in the national spotlight. The question was, could they stay there without him leading the charge? The Cougars, their alumni, and the fans are all looking for a return to being one of the top football programs in the country. As a member of the Big 12, the Cougars will be tested in one of the top conferences in the nation. On December 23, 2023, Willie Fritz was named the 16th head coach in program history. Fritz, the 2-time American Athletic Conference Coach of the Year while at Tulane, turned the Green Wave into a winning program. In Fritz's first season, the Cougars finished with a 4-8 record, going 3-6 in conference play. Despite having the same record as the year prior, the Cougars had quality wins over teams like TCU, Utah, and Kansas State. Year 2 would be the true test for the program and an indicator of what the future could hold under Coach Willie Fritz. Through the transfer portal, Coach Fritz would bring in key acquisitions, such as former 5-star and Texas A&M starting quarterback Connor Wigman and Ball State tight end Tanner Koziel. Under Fritz's leadership, the program would undergo a complete turnaround. With Wigman at quarterback, the Houston Cougars would go on to finish the season with a 10-3 record, going 6-3 in conference play with marquee victories against Arizona State and Arizona, leading to the team's first bowl appearance in 3 seasons. The Cougars would go on to face the LSU Tigers in the Kinder's Texas Bowl at NRG Stadium. En route to a Texas Bowl MVP and a 38-35 victory over the Tigers, Wigman would throw for 236 yards and 4 touchdowns. After a successful second season in the Fritz era, the Cougars are looking to build on the current momentum, bringing in their best recruiting class in program history, headlined by the #1 player in the nation, Keyshawn Henderson. The Houston Cougars are positioning themselves for dominance in the coming years, but it is their illustrious history that has led them to this moment. From the likes of Bill Yeoman, Warren McVay, Andre Ware, David Klingler, Case Keenum, Greg Ward, and Ed Oliver, now a proven head coach in a Power 4 conference, the University of Houston football program has proven time and time again that they are capable of competing with the nation's best.